joining us. Welcome to the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, Tinubu preaches restructuring, says it is needed to create a balance. Buhari approves 45 billion naira for former Nigeria Airways staff. And later in the program, federal government begin prosecution of 2,321 Boko Haram suspects. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Gani Kayode Balogun, and Chris Kende Wandu. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. I'm sure you might just see that award, and one of our viewers just decided to appreciate the Journalist Hangout crew on Saturday. Babajide, Chief Amos Olayinka, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party.
He decided to give us a little party. I won't say a lavish party. He gave us lunch to show his joy at the award that Journalist Hangout, his favorite program, picked up a couple of weeks ago. And we remain really indebted because this really shocked us. We were not expecting,
honestly,
that any Nigerian would like a program so much.
To the extent
and
that
after hearing that the program got an award, he will now decide to give us a sumptuous lunch at the Chinese restaurant.
I think it's just a one-off thing. It's not as if we are not telling Nigerians to come and be giving us lunch. No.
It's not regular.
Yes.
But Chief Amos Olayinka noted, and we want to say thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your...
appreciate you, sir. And I had a good time.
Okay, yes. We even reflected on Nigeria.
Yes, we spent so much time talking about our country and how our country can be better. It would be nice to return to that Chinese restaurant.
Thank you, Chief Amos Olayinka, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party that is an ardent viewer of Journalist Hangout today.
And he's a strong supporter of President Buhari.
Yes, I think, yes,
Really?
he said
Despite
so.
being, despite being a rival party.
Yeah.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
very strong. They say it's the Buhari, he declared.
And he's praying for the president's health to be strong. Stronger than it is now, because he's saying that he knows that Buhari will do better if his health were better.
That's how politics should be played.
Yes.
That's what politics should be played.
In spite of the party.
The party affiliation. That's a good one.
So I have a complete
Thank you
team
very
in
much,
the
sir.
house, starting from BKO, Babajide Otitoju, CKN, and,
good to be here.
and GKB.
And today is Ayo's birthday.
Go, you refuse to say that.
Today
Congratulations.
is his birthday. He doesn't want to take
No, that's why I was expecting you to be able
back
to
to
back to
that
that
Chinese
Chinese restaurant. We are going from here, we are moving down.
We are emptying your account.
From here, we are moving down. We are
Courtesy
moving
of
down.
BKO, courtesy of BKO.
You are emptying your account today. You must pray.
Congratulations, my brother. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, God continue to enlarge your course.
Thank you.
Amen.
You are a nice young man. So
Yes.
we continue to pray for you.
after the Chinese.
All right,
Congrats.
back to business. One of the All Progressive Congress' biggest promises during the 2015 general election was to restructure and bring about true federalism in Nigeria. But this promise never saw the light until the frenzy of secession. Quit notices, public criticism, and hate speeches pervaded the polity and forced the hands of the party. Now, it recently set up a committee on restructuring headed by, they didn't even call it a committee on restructuring, True Federalism, headed by the governor of Kaduna State, that is Nasir El-Rufai, to make recommendations on the hot issue. Many leaders of thought across political, regional, and social divides agree that the present composition of governments must be restructured. As Nigeria participates in the party's decision. Now, APC national leader lent his voice to the political discourse, stating that Nigeria has not sufficiently defined its governance. He endorsed power shifts from federal to state levels. Now, but opposed the idea of Nigeria splitting. He opposed the idea of Nigeria splitting. Now, to the former Lagos State governor, those clamoring for such are after their personal interests. Tinubu, however, insisted that Nigerians must dialogue on the kind of country they want so that it can be restructured and bring the needed balance. What is your take, gentlemen? If Asiwaju has been very quiet since the inauguration of Muhammadu Buhari, since that election, and they've won the election and everything, he has faced his business, and most of the time he's not even always in the country. Yeah. Babajide, let's see. He was represented by Wale Edu, who is one of his former commissioners at this King's College dinner.
Yes.
And he decided to align himself with the clamor that most Nigerians have been talking about, the Yoruba elders, the Ohanizi, and is saying we need restructuring.
Yes, a good leader must know when to talk. He must choose the right time to talk. He must identify what the people want. And I think, Asiwaju, when it comes to taking decisions that are calculated, decisions that many years down the line, even if you opposed him, you'll be able to say, yes, this guy took the right decision. I've not seen anybody like him. I've not seen anybody like him. We can talk about the value of this man and spend at least 12 programs, 12 episodes of Journalist Hangout talking about what this man represents, talking about the value of this man, talking about how he changed things in Lagos, how he set the pace for others to follow, how till today states are recreating the success stories of Lagos in the different sectors. You know? So, and apart from being such a master political tactician, he has now added something that we didn't know about him, which is knowing the perfect time to open his mouth and talk.
So that one matters too.
It matters. Look, if you are a politician and you talk all the time, in no time you lose relevance. Your stock will go down. Your stock will go down. No matter how good you are, God can give you the gift of the gap that he has not given other people. But if you make a habit of talking and talking and talking, the people will get used to seeing you talk or hearing you talk. And then gradually, when you want to talk or when you talk, it becomes no big deal to them. But many Nigerians, for Tinubu, many Nigerians have been asking all kinds of questions. Where is he? Why is he not talking like before? What could be in his mind? What is his plan for 2019? Is he going to work with Atiku? Is he going to ditch Buhari? Is he going to teach some people political lessons? But this man has chosen now to just mind his business largely. When he felt he needed to come to Lagos and oversee the local election here, the local government election, he came down. So much noise was being made about at that time. So much noise that they were imposing candidates. Somebody even predicted that he would be stoned at the party secretariat, and he went there like the true warrior that we've always known him to be, leading from the front. He stood there and addressed the people without fear, including those who were angry, who were threatening fire and brimstone. And I told people, I said, this man is special. You see, there's nothing you can say about him. That this man is truly special, and this is his time. When it is your time, whatever you do will sit well with the people. When you've lost relevance with the people, when you open your mouth on the podium, they will heckle you, they will chase you away from the podium.
No matter how.
So now he's chosen the right time and to talk about restructuring. I've had funny people say, oh, why is he talking about restructuring at this time? Oh, probably he's not happy with Buhari and others. People who are fickle-minded, people without a sense of history, will not remember that all his life, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had always been known for restructuring, for advocating restructuring. You know, he doesn't want a country that is not structured. He's always fought for it. Even his commissioner, his former commissioner, who is now the vice president, fought to the level of the Supreme Court on several occasions for the restructuring of Nigeria.
The federal government-state relationship.
So they can say what they like, because it's in the nature of some people that, oh, when you make this kind of interventions, they will not look at the message. It is you, they want to use that point to take pot shots at you. But he has said, look, as Nigerians, we must come together. That the kind of government that we run is extremely unitarist.
We'll go to the substance. We'll go to the substance. GKB, looking at this, APC, you know, it was as if everybody, APC at the initial stage, was for dragging. And I don't know, maybe they are still not for dragging, because this regional something, Jide said it in our last program, that, look, it might just be give the people what they are clamoring for, but not, yes. From that party that you're saying, is the All Progressive Congress ready to restructure?
I think you must understand the historical background of what we are trying to restructure before worrying whether this party can really solve the problem. Remember that in 1960, there were 3 regions, and then in 1963 it became 4. And then Gowon did what the people thought was impossible by creating 12 states. 3 in the north, 6 in the north, and 6 in the south. But the military came in and consistently distorts the structure of the federation, as well as drag more powers to the center. Now, this government of the APC promised us change. One of the pillars of this change is restructuring. It's in the party manifesto, it's part of what they campaigned on to get into government. What is allowed that they will drag at the initial stage because they are trying to find their feet. They've now been in office for 2 years. And 2 years down the line, everybody who is in Nigeria has realized that this system is not working. And unless you tinker with the system, the entire load will come down. We have a saying in Yoruba that you look at a cripple and you said your load is wobbly. And we ask you, have you seen my legs? And that's the problem in Nigeria. We are standing on a very wobbly leg right now. Not by no fault of anybody but the military. This is a military contraception, and this is what we have to work on to solve. And I think this party has no choice but to do what they promised to the Nigerian populace.
Do you think the President Buhari is ready to restructure this administration, apart from the party now?
Yes, even if he is not ready, the country is ready. And being the leader of the country, he has no choice than to dance to the tune.
Give the people what they want.
So it's not a function of whether the president is ready or not. It's a situation where Nigerians have spoken. You know what happened a few years back when the PDP government under President Goodluck Jonathan conveyed the national conference. The APC then didn't participate. Why? Because they said what they wanted was a sovereign national conference. I believe all of you still remember that.
The popular agitation.
Yes. That has been the cardinal point.
And the objective of that conference would be to restructure the country.
Totally. And that was what they bet. The government of the PDP then were not ready to go that far. They were for dragging. And what they now did was to select some people here and there. And they say, we are not going to be part of this. And immediately this government came in. While some people were clamoring that, let us go back to the decisions of that conference. The APC said, no, we are not part of it. We'll give you something better. So I think that in the past 2 years, the government have taken their time to be able to really sit down, speak people's pulse, and see where Nigerians are ready to go. Now is the time. And the only way to solve the various problems, especially the agitation that is throwing up everywhere, either in the north, in the south-south, in the southeast, in the north-central, or even the southwest, is to be able to get it. Now the issue is that how far can they go? You understand what I mean? How far can they go? Because there are two radical divide in it. Some want total restructuring, while some also prefer that we just go gradually and gradually, where we take the federal and the state, then the local government and the rest of them. But how far they go? So everything now depends on the 12-man committee that has been set up by the APC.
That's
within
the APC.
Within the APC. Let's see what they come up with.
Jide, to be fair to Mr. President, there is a constitutional amendment going on that even the National Assembly has given the State House of Assembly now. They finished it at the National Assembly level. Yeah. They've not harmonized, but it has been transmitted to the states. No. And that is the body that has the sole responsibility of tinkering with our statute book. Now, if we are now saying restructuring or a national conference now, how do you expect Mr. President to go about that? You know, the National Assembly must make a law to enable it or start the process of amending. You know, I'm just confused.
Yeah, if the executive leads the way, it will be easier. Let me tell you, no matter what we say, the respect that the lawmakers, especially northern lawmakers, who are the majority, have for President Buhari is profound. I don't need anybody to tell me. If the president reaches out, for example, to those set of lawmakers and he says, look, this is what I want. That was what he didn't do in the beginning. That enabled the backstabber from Kwara to become the Senate president. That was what he didn't do. They were waiting for that direction.
For leadership.
They were waiting for the president to say, look, this is
what I want.
But he said he didn't want.
Can work with anybody.
Could work with anybody. But he has since realized that when you are in this kind of position, there will be jackals, there will
baboons,
be hyenas, there will be all kinds of people. And you can't tell me that when you see decent people, you prefer to work with brigands and people who would rather want to see banditry legalized in our country. So you can't say that. That was really, really a move that demonstrated the president's political naivety, you know. But he has picked up valuable lessons since he became president. But even now, he still has that respect that if he shows clearly that this is what he wants, look, I want to go down into history. I want to go down into the record books. I want to give myself immortality by restructuring my country.
By coming up with executive bills.
Yes. Targeting, look at, Asiwaju talked about the need for us to conquer darkness. How do we conquer darkness? He said with the bureaucratic and political bottlenecks
national grids
to achieving reliable electricity supply, we must do something about it. And if part of what the reason why some of us want restructuring is because we know that it will lead to stable electricity supply.
So that Lagos produce your light.
Produce your light. We can deceive ourselves. Oh, we are generating 8,000 megawatts today.
But it doesn't transform anything.
Where is it? I went to Benue State, and I was in the night. I was eating in pitch darkness.
Benue State.
I looked at the state capital. They are watching me. They know that it's not a lie. The state capital almost in pitch darkness. And some people, when they enjoy little light in their little corners in Nigeria, they'll say, oh, there's light all over the country. No. I've outgrown such
generalization.
Yes. all those, we don't need such unnecessary generalizations. We don't need it. If I'm able to generate electricity, Lagos has the capacity to generate more than enough electricity.
So that for Lagos users,
They should be able to use the electricity that they generate. You can't have a system whereby you say, oh, if you generate up to this, then it goes into the national grid. No,
they'll not divide
because
it.
at the end of the day, even that one is not it's not equitable. It's not even equitable distribution of power that you attain at the end of the day. So that was what Asiwaju was referring to.
Among other things. Yeah.
Among other things, he was referring to it. So, and that is, we need to restructure to make that happen. Many of us think that I'm not yet a convert to state police. Because when I remember what happened during the First Republic, I get really scared of state police. But a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians think that state police will work. But you can't achieve state police without restructuring. You must look at that constitution, the portion that says there shall be one police. Something must be done about
Nigerian
it.
police force.
Yeah.
So all the president needs to do is lead
So that
from
we
the
can
front.
have a co-police force.
So that he can give himself that immortality that it was under him that this happened. Because once he leads from the front, the people will queue up behind him. And I thank God that he has some strength now that we didn't see in him some months back. If it's a miracle, then we thank God for the miracle. But we are seeing that at least we can really make things happen now. All he needs to do is just show.
The time is there.
Yeah.
GKB, JD has given us like a lead
guide.
that if there's an executive bill that highlights some of these things, passing it to the National Assembly, especially those ones that are very critical, devolution of powers and co. That's
The irony of the discussion really is the fact that in practical terms, Mr. Buhari has probably done more to enhance true federalism than we are giving him credit for. He has returned most things to the states, if you remember. Lagos House, other things that normally the old governors will hold on to, stating that they are this. And most of the time, even right now, most people don't realize.
let me quickly take this caller. Sorry. Tajuddin is calling us from Niger State. Thank you, Taju. Hello, thank you for joining us, Tajuddin.
Yes, Ayo Zubako, good evening and good evening today.
Good evening,
Taju.
Taju.
How are you?
We are
Very
fine.
well.
How is Niger?
Honestly, what you are talking about, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a star in Nigeria. Yeah, we are not doing badly. So we have a constant light here. But honestly, your topic for today on Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu is very, very, very cordial. Honestly, he's a very good politician.
Thank you, Taju. I think that line, but GKB.
Yes, as I was saying, the president has displayed with his actions so many areas where he's willing. Don't forget that even this thing that FIME is doing, the solid minerals, they've liberalized the acquisition level so that states can now come forward with minimal force and get over the want under this law. A lot of things have been done, but they are not really done well because they are not constitutional.
Give it a legal impetus.
We need a legal background. And I thought the party would have done this the first 2-3 weeks that they came in. That by the time they were installing Senate presidents and speakers, the executive bill for the structure of the country will be ready. And by now, we'll have gone far beyond. But it's better late
Than never.
Never.
Yes, I totally agree with my colleagues. This is the way forward, I'm telling you. When we talk of developmental values, let's look back to the 60s. Much of the developmental projects that we have currently
We're done there.
we are done then. Go to Ibadan. You have forgotten what happened in UI. First television station, Cocoa House, and the rest of them.
Even in the north.
I'm just going then the north, ABU. And so you go to the east, UNN, Kaduna Poly. Okay. Then the north was noted for the groundnut. In fact, I remember the first time I went to Kano in 1977 when my dad was working. Koro, I saw groundnut pyramids. I wasn't told. In those days, we used to see it in the primary school books. I saw. And that was what they had.
We won't see it again now.
Then you get to the south, you get to the west, the cocoa,
December
I used to
season.
follow. I used to follow
Bola
my
Kaja.
my grandmother at Ajibandele there, where my mom comes from. We used to go to cocoa farm in Ajibandele. That was where. So everywhere. Then you go to the east, the coal, and the rest of them. And what happened? It was like this now. Every region had access to such things. Then at the end of it, you just remit something to the federal. Then you didn't see everybody going to, no, it was Lagos then. Everybody wasn't coming to Lagos. They weren't coming to Lagos because they were self-sufficient.
All right. When we return, Buhari approves payment of the entitlement of ex-Nigeria Airways staff. Details shortly. Stay with us. It's still journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. I say welcome back. For those of viewers that are just joining us via our terrestrial platform, this is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. In 2005, that's 2005, former President Olusegun Obasanjo liquidated the defunct Nigeria Airways. Many of the airline's workers had hoped that their entitlements will be paid, but they were wrong. For years, successive governments ignored them as meeting and protest failed to achieve any results. The former Airways staff of Nigeria Airways again took to the streets last Wednesday, and this time the government listened. On Thursday, the federal government released 45 billion naira for the payment of their gratuities and other retirement benefits. It regretted that some of them had lost their lives in the last 20 years waiting for their entitlement. What is the hope of this Nigeria Airways workers? Gentlemen, this is a very pathetic story because
It is.
let's first of all, for those of our viewers that are young, that yes, that don't know the kind of exploits Nigeria Airways made.
It's a sobering story, really. I remember in 1985, I flew in an airplane for the first time. I was going to Kaduna from the airport in Ilorin. You know? The airport in Ilorin at one point was the best in the country. It had everything that you would expect to see. So we got on the aircraft and I had a nice time. So the Nigerian Airways was challenging other big airlines across the world. And I've said it before that even today, the Ethiopia Airlines used to do a C-check in the Nigerian Airways hangar here, where Arik Air
presently
currently occupies. So that was a fantastic airline that we brought down due to mismanagement and all that. People will get on the plane without paying a dime. You go to UK and all that. In those days when our economy was strong and Nigerians were enjoying, you could make up your mind that today I want to eat lunch in London.
Yes.
And you fly from Kano Airport. So many people are doing that from Kano Airport straight to London, have your lunch, and you will come back. You know? So it was that rosy at that time for people. But the airline...
I'm sure they had fleets of aircraft.
Of course, all kinds of airplanes at that time.
Their carcasses are much more than those of current airlines.
You see them on the tarmac there. You know, disused Nigeria Airways planes and all that. You know. So now Obasanjo came, decided to wind down the airline because you know former President Obasanjo, when his name is mentioned, impunity.
It's number one.
Impunity suddenly jumps out. Once you mention Obasanjo's name, you see impunity stare you in the face. And I'm saying that if due process was followed in the liquidation of Nigerian Airways, in the first instance, you will have settled the entitlement.
That would
Because
have been part
it
of
ought to be part of the process.
consideration.
Part of the
Yes.
process.
That I want to liquidate this.
Anywhere
I
in
want
the
to
world,
sell.
anywhere in the world where we value people, entitlements of those workers ought to be taken care of. We left them for years. Many of them are dead. Many of them are dead. But it has taken this kind president. They may call Buhari names, call them all kinds of things. He has shown the kind of compassion for the ordinary man that I've not seen any Nigerian demonstrate. No, any Nigerian leader demonstrate. I've not seen it.
Because
all
the
bailouts that is given out, that state governors are embezzling and mismanaging and using to pay contractors, he did it just for poor people,
to
poor
get their
workers,
salaries.
to be able to earn salaries. He came in at a time when some states were owing as much as 12 months. States were like Kano were owing salaries. I said Kano. States like Benue, states like Kogi, Plateau, Osun, they were owing. And the president stepped in. Not only that, remember what he said to the debt management office. He got the debt management office to renegotiate about 660 billion.
That loan.
That different states were owing. And he extended the lifespan of those loans, got the lifespan of those loans extended so that expenditure on repayment of loan will also go down. It can only be a kind man that will behave like this. Remember, even in the hoopla of the exit from restructuring, remember what the president said. He said, I would only be happy when the poor man begins to feel the impact of the exit from restructuring. That's how a honest man talks. That's how a honest man talks. And when he addressed those traditional rulers, he pleaded with them that they should talk to governors.
They know that.
He told them, look, this restructuring is, I mean, these bailouts, including the Paris Club reforms, are meant to assist you to pay workers' salaries.
Not building infrastructure.
Not building infrastructure that in some cases people really do not need.
GKB, what do you really comes to your mind when you think about Nigeria Airways?
Kajajari. That's what comes to my mind.
As in the property that they
That's
would...
the property of Nigeria. And what makes it worse, I didn't mention, was the fact that even before the liquidation, there was a time Nigeria Airways was down to only one plane.
Yes.
The wreckage started under Shagari. When they decided that it's going to become a job for the boys. And even after the liquidation, governments after governments are going after these workers who are living in official quarters in lieu of their pension. And they were thrown out. And these houses were possessed and sold off. Most, I don't want to mention streets, some of the most popular areas in Kajajari are exclusively the property of Nigeria Airways. Even from the...
It's the same in Kano too. They have property
from Maryland.
New York, London.
When you turn at Maryland, up to the airport, Nigeria Airways own nothing less than 70% of houses beside that road. Originally it was called the Airport Road. You don't listen to the airport. All of them are gone. They have nothing less than 16 properties in London. Their property in New York was part of what Ojoma Dweke did for his brothers when he was Foreign Affairs Minister. And we could go on and on. What the president has done is fantastic. It was just a tip of the iceberg. Our Commonwealth, under Nigeria Airways, under Nikon, under Nigeria Shipping Line, that people are appropriated must come back. Because some of these people are dead. Some of their children will never make well because their father could not afford to train them. And the only thing they have, they were holding on to, they were thrown out. It's that bad.
All right, Sikian, I'll come to you now. Ogunleye is calling from Lagos. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, good evening, guys.
Good evening.
I think I'm really enjoying the program, and you are doing a very great job.
Thank you, Ogunleye.
First of all, let me go back to the issue of restructuring that you discussed earlier.
Okay.
And, if this country if we are going to move forward as a country, we must restructure the system. The system is not working, and there's a very big need for us to restructure. We need to sit down as a nation. The people come from the north, from the south, and every part of the country, and sit down and discuss how this marriage is going to work. I read the presentation of Ashwaji Tinubu over the weekend. I think he discussed in details on how to move this country forward. I really appreciate his contribution towards the Nigerian democracy and in building this democracy. He has really contributed a lot to this country. And as Nigerians, I think we need to appreciate him. And coming back to the issue of Nigerian Airways, the problem we have in this country is...
You have to make it simple, clear. Okay.
We don't seem to...
Hello? Okay, Sikian.
Yes. The problem, this all boils down to corruption. And when people shout corruption, corruption, at times we need to look at the basis, where it's coming from, especially within the civil service structure. A civil servant that serves his country or her country for 35 years and knows that at the end of it all, it will take him another 20 years to get his pension. We want to start misbehaving. Look at the staff of Nigerian Airways. Most of them, just as GKB said, have died. I remember some of them protesting there, some of them as old as 70. You remember that their PRO? Yes, Alegbe, you know, those kind of things. So many of them talking then, but nobody listened. And I believe that because we ignored it totally. As if they were no human beings.
Moved on.
And we moved on.
And we brought in Arik to the
hangar. Nothing happened.
And rest of them,
what was left, we were sold off. When they were sold off, they were not even used to pay them. Pay them.
16 houses in
London. No, they did not.
If you had sold the property in London, in New York, and GRA, you would have used it.
Just use it to, and that's what's happened. And that is why you give it to President Buhari. He's a man with passion. Okay? And at times I would just say, within me, as he was I said, probably maybe the man is because he's also a pensioner. Yes. Because it takes you to be in that shoe to be able to understand what it takes. What he did was noble. But let us also... Yes.
Because I was looking at, okay, if you are listening to Nigerian problem now, it just went from the blues, just
from there.
Nigeria Airways.
45 billion. Give them 45 billion.
They just give it to them.
But
it's not as if the money has never been there.
But while we're still saying that, but let us not lose the fact that some of them also contributed to the problem of Nigerian Airways. Management.
Of course. That one.
Management. The management, as I said, Nigeria Airways was #1 airline in Africa. It was then I heard of DC-10. It was in those days we heard of DC-10. When you hear of any DC-10, Nigeria Airways. Okay? So what he has done is noble, and I just think that, and I pray that it takes this beyond just Nigeria Airways. Look at other sectors, Nikon, NSL, even the present either Disco or whatever. There are still some people that have not been paid their pensions.
So many, even the power sector.
Even the power sector, that's what I'm talking about, the power sector. Even with federal establishments like Radio Nigeria, NTA, so many like that.
Even the armed forces. If you go to Abuja and go to Zone 3, where they used to have the army pension, if you see the number, that is what I wanted to say. You need to see them sleeping everywhere, just sleeping. Is that how to serve your country? Not.
My producer is just telling us something to put the record straight. Yes. That Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not mention restructuring. That he was talking about devolution of power. And
it's a conscious element of restructuring.
It's still part of devolution.
When you talk about devolution of power, you know we talked about this last week. It's restructuring that he's talking about. Yeah. I've read that thing repeatedly. Yeah. He was talking about restructuring.
Yes.
We don't need to confuse ourselves. Remember when we were talking about this when you talk about devolution of power, it cannot happen without
restructuring. Definitely, you can't.
You can't.
It can't.
When you talk about
element,
you see, the thing is choose to call it what you like.
name.
But at the end of it, when you are talking about when you say true federalism, is also an element of restructuring. Restructuring is just the collective phrase
of things you need to do.
of things that we need to do to get Nigeria moving.
Fiscal
is just part of it.
Part of it.
Economic, political.
You can't find one name for it. It's just all of them, whether fiscal reason or even doing something about VAT that people complain about. It's still part of restructuring.
It is.
Because when you look even
beyond
even power sharing,
because
some of those elements are in the constitution and you must do something about them. Beyond even power sharing, sharing of the nation's collective revenue is an element of restructuring.
All right. Let's quickly go on this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time, and please stay with us. Welcome back. Yes, gentlemen, I think we've been getting a lot of feedbacks on this devolution of power as called by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because we need to clear it. This is an issue of semantic, but the main thing there is that they want power devolved. The concentration of power, 52% from federal government to the state, to state government and local government. When we are talking about this element of devolution of power, Gilly, what are we talking about?
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, we function like a unitary state in many ways. Undue concentration of power at the center. So that is the main kernel of what he was saying.
Undue concentration of
power at the center. But because it fits into the current narrative as part of the elements of the restructuring that everybody is talking about, that's why interpretatively all the newspapers, they are all saying he's talking about restructuring, but the main kernel of his message is devolution of power.
That we are practicing a unitary system of government.
In many ways.
The federal government is too strong.
Yes. So he wants, when he talked about power, for example, the need for regular electricity supply, he also thinks that if more powers go to the states, we can actually achieve efficient electricity.
Remember, that was one of the things that frustrated his Enron project.
Yes, IPP with an idea, a novel idea that he brought.
First independent power generation program. GKB.
Yes, the revolution, the Asiwaju said it in his speech, and he used the 1963 bar. I think that's what we should concentrate on. What was in the 1963 constitution is the fact that the constituent parts have more power than the center. But the military has distorted that particular area. And now there's a need to devolve power back to the constituent units and give them areas to really do the job. I think it's criminal for a governor to go cap in hand to the center to get money that he generated to do stuff for his own people. I think that's the onus of what the Asiwaju was trying to say. That if power is devolved properly and monitored efficiently, the common man on the streets will get to enjoy the benefits of democracy at such a level that all these agitations will go down. Because they now know who to hold responsible if they are not getting their pay.
So the key to all this thing is devolution of power.
It is, yes, it is. And Asiwaju rightly captured it. If you remember, about 2 weeks ago when I appeared on this program, I said something that we are waiting for Asiwaju to talk. If you remember vividly, I said it. And now that lecture captured the essence of what the party, APC, stood for and what they told Nigerians when they were campaigning. That they are going to devolve power. Everybody knows that Abuja, quote and unquote, is just too powerful. Okay?
And that system
is why the system is not working.
Not working.
It's not working. It's completely jammed. And that will make it possible for governors at the end of every month to send commissioners of finance to Abuja to go and share. How much are we even making? Whereas if states are giving, there is no local government in this country that don't have at least one mineral resources that it can explore and survive with. Either in the north, either in the south,
look at what
outside the east, and anywhere you find it. So you can. So definitely, I think what you know what I feel, what that paper he delivered should be the cardinal point for the 12-member committee to start work with.
Let me take this call from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Rahman. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Tunde Rahman.
Yes, Tunde Rahman is my name.
Oh, okay. That's the spokesman of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
The media advisor to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I just like to make a few clarifications.
All right.
One, let me first say that you guys are doing a wonderful job. I follow journalist Hangout. I hope I will have time to come on myself. Two quick points I'd like to make with respect to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's paper. Just like Babajide said earlier, a lot of our colleagues have, they've not reported what Asiwaju, said precisely the way he said it. Okay. Yes, Asiwaju called for restructuring. The restructuring he called for is not along regional lines. It's to ensure that more powers are devolved to the states. He says that some want a dismantling of the federal structure. But we have not practiced federalism the way it should be practiced. So he's calling for a proper practice of federalism, true federalism as it were. You know that the federal government is doing some of the things that ought to be done, by the states. And he's saying that some of the items in the exclusive federal list should be moved to the residual list of the states. Items like prison, police, you may say that Asiwaju has called for state police. And that is the way it should be, because the police essentially should be a state matter. So he's saying that all these items that should be within the province of the state should be taken there to ensure that we have a more balanced federalism. Some have interpreted that to mean restructuring, but it's not restructuring along regional lines as a canvas, because he says that balkanizing Nigeria into small segments does not solve any problem. It will create problems. Some of the problems that you have seen, people will begin to, at what point will this balkanization stop? If you say region, people will say, okay. If you say states, okay, let's have more local government. If you say local government, let's talk about war. So there will always be agitation along that line, which will never end. Then the other point is that, as what you talked about, he says that he does not want to just dump the old for the new. But that because there are some aspects in the new that should be incorporated, some aspects of the old that should be incorporated in the new. He would rather want a better Nigeria, not an old Nigeria, not a new Nigeria, but a better Nigeria. So something that, because he talked about, that not very many good things are in change, means that he has pulled down the APC or has pulled down the APC change mantra. No, what he's saying is that rather than calling for an old Nigeria or a new Nigeria, he would rather prefer a better Nigeria. And I think every one of us wants a better Nigeria. Yeah. So those are the 2 points I need to make, which is that, let me just recap again, which is that some of the guys who have reported, as you are saying, as calling for restructuring, should put it in a proper context. Is restructuring to ensure a more balanced federation, a more balanced federalism. Thank you very much.
That's Mr. Tunde Rahman, is the spokesperson of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I think the record is straight. Yes, it's clear now. I think the way that thing was reported might have caused a lot of misinformation.
Distortion. Just interpretative journalism is what our
which
people...
is not it's not all reporters that are gifted in that.
Yes, sometimes you want to do interpretative journalism, but you actually mislead at the end of the day. You see, the people also want to cast headlines based on what they think the people want.
Yes, current trends.
So this is what has happened. But at the end of the day, Asiwaju has shown himself that he wants the progress of the country. He believes that progress will happen with devolution of powers to the states. And it's not the first person to say it. Other people have been saying it across the country. So he has just kind of put the icing on the cake. That's exactly what he has done.
GKB, final?
Yes, we are going to have the vision of power, ultimately. But I like what the freshly minted Alaji, Tido Rahman, just told us. That police coming back to the states. If you remember what happened in Ikorodu and the intervention of OPC,
they called OPC and some other local guys on ground.
That's the sign.
CKN, quickly.
Yes, as we all said, devolution is the solution. The states should be given more power, and that also trickle down to the local government areas. With that, you can see a newborn Nigerian.
I want to thank you, CKN, for coming on this edition. GKB, I want to thank you for coming on this edition. I want to thank you, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. You can watch the repeat tonight at 11 p.m. on DSTV 418, GoTV 45, and all our other platforms, multiple platforms, like 6-7 of them, that you can get just Journalist Hangout on. You can also watch our YouTube page at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Ayodele Ozubakun. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.